Welcome to Retail Leasing 104, the last of this series, the first series. We're going to talk about the critical path, time, friend or enemy. The learning objectives today is to evidence the time triggers within a retail lease, train you to view these as a critical path to action, and how to leverage time to influence your commercial leasing outcomes. Time and the lease, and certainly lease events. Each lease has specific clauses which have ongoing operational requirements. And for example, obviously there's the first one, annual rent reviews. Can I say 3 out of 10 CPI reviews that come across our desk are incorrect because someone's applied the incorrect CPI index. We've got outgoings. There's usually 2 events in each lease here, each year. We've got the budget statement of outgoings, and then we've got the audited adjustments for outgoings. If you've got a turnover rental clause in there, you may have to provide audited statement of sales. Certainly marketing, you'll have a marketing budget from the shopping centre. Also, you may have a marketing budget of your own that you need to provide to the lessor if those clauses are in your lease. Another one you'll look at is your permitted use, and you should make sure that your permitted use is up to date each year and in tune with your specific retail channel. Certificate of currency, ensuring that your liability insurances, etc. are updated and a copy is sent to the landlord each year. And you may find in a lot of landlords these days, particularly after the GFC, that your bank guarantee that you provided at the beginning of the lease is topped up with the latest rental. What is a critical path? Or what is the critical path of my lease? Here we've set an example of a lease where it's expiring and we've gone backwards in time. Here we've identified 6 months, 12 months and then 18 months out, and certainly identified there with the highlight there, the flashing bulb, is 14 months out. What we're looking at here is your call to action prior to a very, very significant leasing event, and that is your lease expiring. Certainly you don't want to be down in that 3-month to 6-month area and not have done anything or taken any action, or certainly don't understand if your lease is to be renewed or not, or don't have any understanding of the commercial terms you're about to enter into. Certainly we promote that 18 months prior to a lease event, whether it be an option to exercise, which is your right of someone's land, or a lease expiry, you need to be understanding how your branding's looking. You need to look at your refurbishment plans, whether you need to freshen up your store and how it looks. Certainly you should have your business plan in place, and you should have done your research. We've identified their research at that 13-month period. By then, and that's 1 month prior to 12 months before the lease event or lease expires, you should have everything in place. From our previous sessions in this series, you should understand your research is all completed. You should research your business, your industry, the landlord and who you need to deal with. You need to have understand your numbers from our session 102, where your occupancy cost, how it fits, your turnover per square metre, how the premises and the real estate fits, and what it's going to look like going into the future. Right here you're planning for the next 5 to 10 years of this lease and your business and how it's going to derive a return on your investment and efforts. If you don't do the research prior to and then leverage time through creating a critical path, as this example does, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. The moment that you don't leverage time and put that on your side, the landlord is getting leveraged higher and higher each time. The reason being the clock is ticking down. Your right over their land is diminishing by the clock. So you need to take action and positive action well prior to that event happening. That gives you time to pick your business up and move it if the parties can't reach suitable commercial terms. So by setting a critical path as we got here, whether this be in an electronic diary or whether it be graphed like you've seen on the screen now, you certainly need to understand how you're going to act, what steps you need to take and how you're going to resource it. Now when we talk about resourcing an event like this and doing the research and doing the planning there, we're not necessarily talking about spending time getting consultants in. You may wish to do that. We're talking about resourcing it with your time. It's the cost of you getting out of your business to look at your lease, how you're going to plan and what you're going to do with a significant event coming up. Because without a lease you don't have a business. So this needs to be taken very, very seriously, and you need to leverage time on your side. When time is of the essence, there's some traps to watch within a lease. Obviously each lease has got a commencement date and obviously it's got an expiry date. You need to know those clearly and need to understand them and how they fall in your opportunity to get a return on investment within a set period of time. You need to understand that you've got annual rent reviews within your lease. You need to put that in your critical path. Particularly, and a very important one, and we hear this all the time of people missing their options, is your option for a further term. In some states of territories, we've gone to the trouble now of changing the legislation so the landlord must remind you that you've got an option over their land. However, you still have to exercise that option, and it's very vital that you put within your critical path how you are to do that, and the lease will set out how you are to do that, usually with a notice period. So please put that into your critical path. The other one there will be notice periods. Quite often there could be notice periods in relation to the option. There could be notice periods in relation to the market rent review within an option. Some may say 14 days, some may say 28 days after a landlord's given you a notice in relation to the market rent at an option period that you have to have responded. If you miss that period, that rental becomes automatic. So once again, your critical path within your lease is vital. With relocations within shopping centres, the lease, and quite often the Act, the Retail Shop Leases Act or Tenancies or Commercial Tenancies Act within your state or territory, will specify the timelines that you must react to notices in relation to a relocation notice from a landlord. Again, demolition clauses are the same. Certainly, insurances, your certificate of currency, you need to have that mapped out within your critical paths so that you're providing it to the landlord as specified under the lease. Again, topping up your bank guarantees, etc. You need to plan for that as well, because if that's being asked of you every year, there's a process involved in doing that, being that you have to go back to your financier or your bank to arrange that. So that needs to have a critical path and timeline put around it so that you're performing under the lease. The other one was refurbishments. Certainly you need to timeline those so that you're doing those in a certain time that gives you the least disruption to your sales and gives you the maximum return on investment. Putting time on your side. Always remember, a lease is your right over someone else's land for a predetermined length of time. The very first step in preparing for a lease event, say a lease renewal, is to put time on your side. Without putting time on your side, once again, I'm repeating myself, you're leveraging the landlord. And the more you leverage the landlord, the commercial terms that you're able to achieve and the outcomes you're able to achieve are going to lessen. So please, by putting time on your side through mapping out a functioning critical path, will set you instead to a path towards approaching your commercial terms and your negotiations well researched with time on your side to look at alternatives and to deal with your business in a timely manner, rather than having the landlord forcing you into his timeframes into how you will deal with your business. All too often we have retailers say, my lease expires in 3 months and I haven't heard from the landlord. In this case, as I've been saying before, time has become the enemy. You need to make time your friend by managing the critical path to your lease to realise improved commercial terms. Remember, retailers don't get what they deserve. They get what they negotiate. For more information and where you can access more information, certainly on copies of your relevant state or territory lease legislation, copies of the booklet from the Federal Government of Innovation, Look Before You Lease, or the latest CPI results, go to our website www.lease1.com.au and click on the leasing links. We've also put in there top 10 leasing tips. You can download a free report, and we have frequently asked questions from our clients over the years, and you can click on the FAQ tab. For latest topics and discussions, you can go to our blog, but certainly if you've got a specific question or you need more information specific to your lease, click on the Contact Us. An office will be back to you as soon as we can. Remembering always, you're actually leasing time, so put time on your side.